Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Today we'll be doing a quick roundup of the past week's LCS news and other esports. I'm your host HavocPuss, and today I'm joined by...
Frozen Creek is here for part 2 of this episode. Actually, I screwed up the audio on the first one, so we're back at you again. But this time we are live recording on Trey's Twitch channel.
And I am Cool, also known as Trey, back to help with the podcast since it seems that the audio can't go on without me.
Once you leave, the whole operation just kind of crumbles. You're an integral part in all of this, Trey.
I am the plan.
Yes, so we're trying to stream this one live for the first time, see how it goes. But this is also our last episode of 2016. Because it is almost Christmas, and we have a life and a break to take, so we will see you guys for sure in 2017.
We have lives?
Well, not really, but that's beside the point.
Also, just a quick reminder to you listeners out there in TV land, we are on iTunes, so go check that out. You can find us just by searching Bodied in the iTunes store thingy. And you can get updates whenever we upload a new episode or some new content or whatever. So please do that. We would really appreciate it. Always like to have our listeners be informed.
You can find us by searching Bodied in the iTunes podcast app on your phone or in the iTunes store on your computer. However that one works. I only use it on my phone. If there's anything else you guys want us to jump into, let us know via email or Twitter or Facebook or something, and then I will look into getting us into another platform. I'm not quite sure where everybody listens to their podcast at, though.
There's too many platforms nowadays. It's really hard to keep
track.
Oh,
it's crazy.
Yeah. They have... You have iTunes, SoundCloud. Some people do it on Spotify. It's just everywhere.
I think there's a website specifically for people... posting podcasts. A friend showed it to me, but I can't remember the name of it.
I'm honestly...
That's hilarious.
I'm not sure. I just know that there's a bunch of them. So if you want us on there, tell us, and we'll try and look into it.
Alright, well, gentlemen, I think we should jump into pretty much what's going to be the main topic for today's show, and that's talking about Cloud9's 2017 LCS roster. Excitement all around.
Oh, yeah. Not only did we re-sign Reaper for another 2-year term, but we got formerly CJ Kane, coming on as our assistant coach, and he's also signed to a 2-year term. Impact was re-signed. We don't know how long that is. Ray, formerly Apex/Dignitas, is coming to Cloud9 as a sub to learn under Impact and share time with him. He's under a 3-year term. Formerly Cloud9 Challenger Contracts is going to be under a 2-year term and is replacing Meteos as Meteos is stepping down to a sub role. Jensen re-signed on a 3-year term, as well as Sneaky and Smoothie.
Yay, Smoothie. Smoothie's my favorite. Most people like Jensen and Sneaky, but I like Smoothie. He's the man. Glad to see Protein Shake stepping back up.
I think that might be the best nickname for any single player. Best duo name is...
I hope he catches on that we call him Protein Shake. That would
be pretty good.
I really want him to acknowledge that.
I think the best duo name ever was Rush Hour.
Yeah.
But Protein Shake...
That's probably the best one.
Protein Shake is the best single name.
I kind of like Dad.
Yeah, so...
And Sneaky.
And Meteos. A lot of people call him Dad, too.
I think both of them are still younger than I am. So I'm not sure if I can call them
really
Dad or not.
Really, anyone can be Dad when you think about it.
True, I guess. Close enough, at least. So, what do you guys think about the roster, starting from the top down with like the coaches and everything?
I think it's... Oh, you can go first.
Well, I think Kane has a bad rap because of what ended up happening to CJ towards the end of the season and them getting relegated down to Challenger League. So, cautious optimism for him. Glad we have Reaper back.
Yeah, me too. I think picking up Kane's actually probably a good decision because this allows Reaper to kind of look at our macro play and kind of our gameplay as a whole, while Kane can kind of focus on the tiny things that we usually do in lane. He said specifically in that announcement video that he wanted to focus on our strong laning presence and make sure that the other team is put so far behind due to our really strong laning that they can't possibly come back from. And I think that's really good that he notices that as one of our strengths, and he's really going to try to build off of that and make that one of the key things that we try to play around.
Yeah, and I was reading that Kane was part of arguably one of the best bot lanes in the world at one point in time. So I think that it is good news for the early to mid game transition in laning, because while we are a good laning team, I think that there is some mistakes that can still be cleaned up, like Sneaky and Smoothie kind of losing their head against Samsung. But overall, I think our laning is pretty strong, and that Kane is only going to be able to make it better. What are you guys' biggest worries about the squad then?
My biggest worries about the squad is now that Meteos is gone, putting a young guy like Contracts into a position where either him or Jensen is going to have to transition into a shot caller, more of a shot caller role, is slightly worrying, because Meteos was an older guy who had tried it under High in Season 5, and then that didn't really work, and then he had to come back in Season 6, and that's when he finally started to get it to work out. So it's slightly worrying, but
Contracts is probably the biggest question mark. Yeah, he is an up-and-coming rookie player, so we don't really know a whole lot about him in terms of past performance besides the Challenger split. I do think that Contracts can probably have picked up a lot of things from High in his time with Cloud9 Challenger, so I think it may not be that bad. I think the only thing I'm concerned with is with him, and to a lesser extent Ray, we have to really see how he performs going up against these really big name players. Like, he's going to have to go up against Rainover, Dardoch, Sven Skaren. He's going to have to be ganking lanes with people like, Someday in Bjergsen. It's, it might be a little bit overwhelming. He may have stage fright. It's probably too soon to tell, but I think our rookie pickups are probably going to be the things that make predictions kind of hazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another thing I just want to mention real quick is a lot of top lane talent came into the LCS. So we just need to keep our eye out, because Flame and Someday were two people who had Impact's number. So
maybe
gotta
we
look
won't
out
see
for that.
Top Die as much.
Top die less.
Or the
Top die
opposite
less.
direction.
Die top.
Which I hope not. Yeah, I definitely think that Contracts is the most questionable part of this lineup right now, because he's, every time we've seen him, I think he's given off a good performance, at least on Cloud9 Challenger. On almost every game, he's kind of popped off, especially under pressure, which is really good news. But he's also 17, and I know that when I was 17, I was sitting in my room, like, doing things that I probably should not name aloud and stuff like that. So he has all the potential in the world, and he's performed super well under pressure. So I think that there's all the potential in the world there, but it's kind of weird that he only got a two-year contract. What do you guys think about him getting a 2-year contract as opposed to everyone else who got a 3?
Well, I think it's partially due probably because he's a rookie. Cloud9 probably doesn't want to risk bringing on a contract that's too long just in case he doesn't pan out, while Sneaky, Jensen, and Smoothie are pretty battle tested, so they can have longer contracts. He might get better offers or something. It's probably just because he's kind of a new player. At least that's what I think it is. What do you think, Trey?
So from my perspective, they probably gave him a 2-year contract to see where he is in 2 years, and then either modify him to, if he does really well, to give him more compensation for what he's doing. Because you don't want to, and a lot of players have avoided this, something similar to where Bjerg signed like a 5-year contract or something along those lines, where you have a lot of money going into one player at the beginning, but then their value raises so much, but they're still kept at that low contract price. So I think they're just looking out for them.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it kind of gives them a quick bailout if they want it at 2 years, assuming he doesn't pan out. So what happens if he doesn't pan out? Do they just bring Medias back in? Like, say he comes in and we lose like the first 3 weeks. Like, do they just throw in Medios and tell contracts to suck it up?
That's very possible, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's more so going to be that Contracts is the main jungler for now, and at worst, they bring back Medios. Medios has said distinctly that he does not want to play right now.
So is this an upgrade on Medios, or is this a downgrade?
He has potential.
I think
for Spring Split.
At the start, I think for Spring Split, early Spring Split, it's going to be an upgrade in mechanical skill and a downgrade in map play, and then his map play is slowly going to get better over the season.
Yeah, but a jungle right now is arguably the most overpowered role in the game. Is that something that he can keep up with?
I think he can.
Yeah, I think the Medios contracts question has probably been one that the fans have been talking about a lot. I think that contracts is an upgrade in that he can learn all of the good habits and learn not to do the bad habits. While since Medios is a veteran player, he has certain habits and certain tendencies that he just can't get rid of because he's been playing the game for so long. While with contracts, he can learn and adapt more to being an LCS player, and he has a lot of room to grow, which is really great. So I think it's somewhat of an upgrade.
Another thing is, as a younger player, you're less likely to have an idea of this game should be played this way. So you're going to be a lot more teachable. So
Yeah, he can probably experiment a bit more with how to approach the jungle role. So that's definitely a good move.
Yeah, so we also have a sub in the top lane as of right now. And I believe it was Curse Chat you said, Trey, that Jack said
Yes.
that he was expecting Ray and Impact to sub in and out like Smoothie and Bunny Fufu did last year. Is that good or is that bad?
I think that's, in a best-of-3 scenario, I think that's good because it gives Ray time to learn from Impact, because we don't really know what's going on with Impact, if he's starting to get old and is starting to get ready to retire, or what's going on with him. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Is this they're kind of prepping Ray to eventually 100% take Impact's place. I think it is probably really great just because he can be taught and work under probably one of the most storied Korean top laners. So I think that's a really good move. Not really sure how it will pan out. He's probably most famous for playing more like carry top champions, I think, while Impact is more of the tanky bruiser engage type champions. So it's a little bit different in playstyle and champion pool, but I think that kind of bring something new to the table. Because it's completely different from the Bunny Smoothie situation, because top is way different than support. So the dynamic to that, switching back and forth, probably changes a lot, just in the role alone.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
my biggest question is, we're switching from Impact and All-Star from this season, and arguably the best top laner in NA, and maybe arguably best in the West, and we're gonna be switching in with Ray, who has shown glimpses of potential, but he hasn't exactly shown that he's going to be a great player by any means. On more meta picks, it's been more on cheese picks that he's really blown off on it.
80 Jarvan. The only pick you need.
I think you need to go about thinking about it a different light, and think about it more so as you're not switching out Impact with Ray. You aren't taking one or the other for, alright, he's a champion versus he's a newcomer. It's more so you have to think about Impact's health. How is his wrist doing? If he needs to sit out a couple games, things like that. If the team wants to go around a more carry-centric meta of top laners, like if things similar to Camille and Fiora and
Kennen,
even
J4
Darius,
Rumble.
Kennen, all of these champions, and Impact is not comfortable on them at that point, and Ray is. It's just giving the team another level of versatility that they can use.
Yeah, and I'm all for that. I just kind of wanted to give out some feelers and stuff, because I know a lot of us were kind of questionable, I guess, about the Smoothie and Bunny Fufu switches, just because it seemed like both of them were performing at a reasonable level, and I think we could have gone with either of them at any point in time, and we would have been okay. But I think at this point it's kind of a bigger switch, because Impact is one of the best top laners in the West, while Array is kind of just like an understudy, so it's kind of questionable there. But other than that, I think it is also the spring split, so we don't know what Impact's plans are for the summer split. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Array and Impact going past the first split into the summer split.
What I will say is that Jack also said on the Curse Voice that he, quote-unquote, has Impact contracted through the rest of 2017 and plans on using him.
That's great news. I think.
Oh, sweet. Impact all day, every day.
I mean, it sucks for Ray personally, probably, but I think it's super good for Impact and for a Cloud9 fan. But I guess we'll just have to see how Impact does and Ray does in all of their appearances.
Yep.
I have a question for you guys before we move on. Looking at this roster as a whole, how far do you think we can go in terms of both domestically and internationally? Is this the roster that could potentially win us a regional championship or two regional championships? Could it get us further into the Worlds bracket than just getting kicked out of quarters? What do you guys think? I think the potential is there, but I want to hear your takes.
I think this is definitely a top 3, top 4 team normal season. My current top 4 right now is Cloud9, Immortals, TSM, and Liquid.
In that order? Or?
In that order specifically. Not joking about Liquid being 4th or anything. TSM took a real downgrade by switching from Doublelift to Wild Turtle. They had problems with him before. I don't think they fixed those problems. Immortals looks really strong, but I think their bot lane is a big weakness. And Liquid,
I don't know.
Golden Blue still has some big questions, but I think they're a good team. I think they're a really good team.
Him.
I think they're a Worlds level team.
Okay.
Piglet did look pretty good at IEM South Korea. He looked like he was pretty much at maybe a little bit below the level he usually plays at, but he looked pretty good. I know he's really good friends with Golden Glue, so that's probably one of the reasons why he's kind of playing a bit more up, is because he doesn't have to worry about all that drama that was surrounding the team when Dardak was playing with them.
Yeah, I believe both Immortals and Liquid got 3rd/4th at IM Gyeonggi.
Yeah.
The difference is one of them had to play Samsung.
Yeah. I think that was Immortals.
No, Immortals had to play Kongdu.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, quick hot take before we move on. Who makes a Worlds for Season 7?
Well, based off these current rosters, C9, TL, CLG.
Not TSM?
I think TSM's good, and I think their roster's still really good, but I think metas will change, and I don't know how they can really adapt. I think C9 is a very good team and has done really well. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change that. C9, TSM, CLG, just like last year. After all is said and done.
That's what I was kind of leaning towards. I was either going to lean towards that or maybe put Immortals in that one spot. Maybe, but I'm not really sure. Maybe Dignitas. The reason I'm struggling with it is because so many teams have switched up their rosters so much. It's really hard to tell who's going to be a good team and who's going to be a crappy team, because on paper a lot of the teams look great, but a lot of those teams also don't have the synergy built up that like CLG or Cloud9 has. So it's really hard to tell.
The big thing is to get those championship points early while everyone's still kind of in turmoil.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that they have a plan to jump into the playoffs and at least make the finals, so we can get all those championship points.
I'd love to see them play at MSI. That'd be really dope.
Yeah. So, with that being said, who are your dark horses? Real quick.
What's a dark horse again?
A dark horse is something that everybody perceives as either like weak or low tier, but it can actually, you think, will become a top tier team.
Okay, I got you. I'm gonna pick Phoenix One. I think they can. Their roster has solidified, and Nori is gonna be playing full time instead of being absent for like half the split or whatever. I think Phoenix One's gonna come out strong and become at least a top 5 team.
I think C9C. Nobody's really talking about them. We don't know what the new roster is going to be named, but if it is the 4 of 5 that came from the C9C minus contracts plus another jungler, I think they'll do really well.
Yeah, I've actually completely forgot about
my dark horse is going to be Echo Fox. I still like Froggen, I do like Looper, and I don't exactly like Keith, but I don't think he's like trash tier. So I think, I'm not going to say that they're going to be great, but they'll be better than what I think a lot of people are going to pick them as.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. For those of you listening, LCS starts January 20th, so mark that on your calendar, put in your little day planner, get ready for some big action. We'll probably do an episode before the 20th, breaking down the rosters and going one by one and kind of talking about strengths and weaknesses and all that crap. It'll be a really fun time. Hope you tune in for that. I'm certainly looking forward to it.
So before we move into other esports, I guess it is other esports. But Trey, what happened with this open letter? What is this?
The CSGO open letter?
Yes.
Okay, so for some,
I believe it was CLG, C9, TSM, in Liquid.
Yes. These are all teams that join something called the PEA, which is Professional Esports Association. What the PEA and the owners of the PEA said were pretty much they don't want them they aren't going to allow their players to compete in the ESL Pro League, or EPL, which is a big tournament that actually C9 won the finals of this last year in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And it seems like they aren't going to be able to play in it. So the players came back and, with some other people, wrote a letter of unsatisfaction and pretty much protest against the PEA and the owners. So we don't really know what's going to happen at this point, but we do know that it is very up in arms.
Jack said that he was drafting a response in a thread on the Cloud9 subreddit today because I guess he doesn't think that the letter depicted both sides very well.
And that's probably true. The thing is, there's a lot of organizations now, and nobody really knows what's going on. I think it'll thin out, but it should be all right.
Yeah, it's been a pretty divisive subject. I checked the thread on the subreddit talking about it, and some people were saying that the organizations were right, saying that, well, it is in the players' contract, so the organizations technically can operate within those powers, and while some are siding with the players, saying the players want to do this and the organization should be more willing to work with the players. It's a very complicated mess. I'm not sure where I side on that issue, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to hear both sides first, and as of right now, I haven't seen a drafted response from the ownership.
The owners and the PEA,
Yeah, for sure. Definitely need both sides.
But it seems like a lot of the concerns that the players were wary of when they were first talking about that the PEA didn't kind of come out once the organization kind of started coming together. So I think that it is something where the players do have a leg to stand on, most likely. But again, it's hard to say without hearing both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we will report more on this as it develops.
CSGO got knocked out of the E-League major qualifier to Hellraisers this past week. Were they maybe too caught up in writing this letter that they didn't compete at the top of their game?
No, I think the team's really just in a slump right now. So they got to the final round of the qualifier to make it into the major in January, but fell just short. In their first round, they lost 19-17 to FaZe, who ended up going 3-0. They also
that was the game they blew like a 10-1 lead, right?
Yes. And then they also lost to Tyloo in the second round. Their wins against CLG and Renegades were decent, but those teams both aren't considered to be very good in the CSGO realm. So Hellraisers is not a bad team. They just nobody expected them to get out and C9 not to. So
yeah, I'm not. Trey? What do you think should really be done with the CSGO squad?
Get a coach.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Should we get a coach? Should we do roster changes? What should we need to really whip this team back into shape and get them playing at that level that they were at in Brazil?
I think honestly, get a coach, and then try to get the players to mesh together a little bit better. The team seems to be working more so off individual skill than working together to create strategies.
Yeah,
and
that's what I noticed.
A lot of that falls on IGL, which is Stewie. So I think take some of the pressure off him, get a coach. The players have expressed that they don't want a coach, but they need a coach.
Well, hopefully they'll get a coach. I really want to see them be back to full form, because it really sucks to see them struggle.
Oh yeah, they're a great roster.
Yeah, right? Like, watching them, I just want them to be cohesive again. Like, it really seems like you said they're trying to just play off of individual plays instead of actually coming together as a whole unit. So, hopefully they can band together.
Yep.
Moving on to MLG Vegas. Did you guys watch that? It was pretty exciting.
Yes,
Overwatch
yes I
and
did.
COD played. It was fun.
The Legend of Game 5. The COD team, I think,
exciting.
may have gone to the most Game 5s in COD history. I'm going to have to check that officially. But they seem to be the king of Game 5s, only losing one in the finals to Rise Nation.
And each was a pretty exciting Game 5. I think Aches played really well. I think he was really trying. The whole team for sure, but I think Aches in particular was trying just heart and soul to just try to win the championship for MLG Vegas and just really show that Cloud9 is, just the best at Call of Duty.
I mean, yeah. Patrick, he got a lot of trust put into him by Cloud9, and he was able to pretty much build his own team around him. And getting second at MLG Vegas definitely isn't bad.
Yeah, for sure. And they were really exciting to watch, too. I really liked watching Aches make plays. Assault, Ricky, and Lacefield look pretty good, too. We'll definitely be talking about them when...
In the future.
Yeah, in the future, whenever World League starts. We'll give you more information about that, because this is becoming probably my second favorite esport to watch, next to, like, CSGO and Overwatch.
Is that like a fourth then? Because that's League, Overwatch.
I mean, it's all tied. I can group.
Okay.
It's like your children. I love all of my children equally, except for Dennis. We don't talk about Dennis much.
So he's like Mango then?
Yeah.
You never know
It's
what's
hard
going to
for me
happen. He's random.
It's hard for me to get into Smash. I've tried watching it.
Smash is a good game.
Yeah, it just seems
It's
like
fun. I'm not saying it's not fun. It's just hard for me to follow because there's always so many matches and the matches go by really quick.
yeah, that's my thing also is that I can't find a place to get updates to, so I just don't know when it's happening.
For a place like that, great place and a great website that you can always see where tournaments and when tournaments are happening is smash.gg. They don't only show brackets, but they also have their stores there, and they have the ability to show live brackets, and they give you Twitch streams and all of that. So it's a really great website.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, we'll definitely have to use that more to keep us more informed. What do you guys think of the Overwatch MLG Vegas? I think it was pretty great. We did lose to Envious, but Envious is a pretty high-ranking team, so I don't really feel bad losing to them.
So, yeah, they got a group stage pretty easily, but Envious was definitely considered to be the best team at the tournament. They didn't get completely slaughtered by Envy, and Envy went on to win very convincingly, but it was really unfortunate for the Overwatch team. They definitely probably could have performed better, but it was not bad getting fourth at MLG.
Yeah, I really like watching the Overwatch team play because it always seems like they're always having fun. They're always trying to play as a team, and they're just always firing on all cylinders. Like, no one, at least to me, is kind of an Overwatch scrub. None of their play seems to kind of be wavering or anything. Everyone was just trying their hardest. And that's what I really like to see from the Overwatch squad. So it was really entertaining to watch.
All right.
Yeah. So instead of moments of the week, let's do your guys' New Year's resolutions.
New Year's
Ooh.
resolution. Ooh. Special.
Excitement.
I guess I'll go first. I think my New Year's resolution is going to be to stay more on track with stuff like this, because it's very easy to just lose track of things when you're doing so many things at once. So I'm going to try to keep focus on one thing at a time and hopefully get it all done.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Oh geez, resolutions. I guess just kind of get better at my hobbies. You know, get better at being a part of the podcast, getting better at playing League, getting better at doing anything else that I have fun doing. So just kind of improving at that and getting more involved with that kind of stuff. Because hobbies are important. They make us happy.
For me, I'm gonna say just play guitar more, just because it's something I kind of dropped because I was playing video games too much. So I need to switch out video games for playing guitar again, because I miss making music since it was like a huge part of my life up until I graduated in college. So mine is just to play guitar more, maybe get an electric drum set.
Yo, nice. Shred it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. You should totally do it.
Yeah, I need to look into them because I think they're somewhat expensive, but maybe once that tax return comes back, I'll have enough to get that drum set that I want.
For sure. Well, if that's all that we have to add, can you guys think of anything else we should say before we sign off?
Quick thing. Ally lost in winter semis and I think losers finals or losers semis at I don't remember the tournament name.
Yeah, it was like 2G something.
2GG Saga. 2GG
Yes.
Saga. Yeah, he lost there, but he played pretty well and beat Zero. Lost to his buddy Larry Lur. It was unfortunate, but he's been playing pretty well. Remember to check out Smash 4.
Smash 4 is pretty fun.
I just want to add, Merry Christmas, or sorry, Happy Holidays, non-denominationally, and Happy New Year. And if you have time or whatever, to rate and review us on iTunes, because that helps us a lot.
And I've just been informed that the name of the tournament was, in fact, Zero Saga by 2GG Gaming.
You're close.
I almost had it. It was close.
You get partial credit. That's all that matters.
I knew
credit can get
Saga
you
was in there.
degrees.
Yo, C's get degrees.
That's
Exactly.
how I have a degree.
Exactly.
Same. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the 19th episode of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Feel free to tweet questions and feedback to @C9Bodied or email us at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. Questions might be answered on the next podcast, so pour them in, please. Questions are always fun. Our mailbox has cobwebs and everything on it, just because we don't get anything. But yes, we would love to have a Q&A with our listeners, so even stupid questions. So that's about it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya in 2017.